What's going on, everybody? This is Brendan. Channel is Dad Planet. I am the one-man show. Yes, I have a mask on. We're still trying to recover from all of the viruses that we have permeating the household. I think we're all on the tail end here. I actually have a buddy with me here. And this What's Sold on eBay video is the only one I'm going to do for January. And it's sort of a tale of two halves, if you will. The first part, the first 2 weeks of January, which was very slow. And then the second week, which was much better. So instead of doing 15 bolos, we're gonna do 20 here. So even though that sounds like that's 5 additional, it's actually 10 less since I'm only doing the one video. I'll try to get back to doing 2 What's Sold on eBay videos every month for you folks, because I know a lot of you do like that, but we're just trying to press through here and work all of us back to 100% health. So we're very close. But anyway, let's get into the video. We will talk about the sales that I did for the entire month of January. I will show you what my net sales was, my entire cost of goods for the month, and the amount of hours that I spent working in my eBay store. Let's get to it. All right, Dad Planet family, here's what January looked like for me, the first 2-week period. So from January 1st through the 15th, my sales were just under 3,200 and my net was just over 2,000. You can see everything down from last year. Part of the problem here was up until actually January 17th, I had only spent $344 on inventory. That's what my cost of goods was up until then. So I really had to change that. So very slow relative to what I'm used to doing for January. And then here's the second half of the month, the 16th through the 31st. You can see a drastic change, $6,000 in sales, just under 4,000 in net. Everything else looking kind of normal. And then here's what this looks like for the entire month. So comparing me to me, last January, 27% down, 30% down on my net across the board. A very slow January, and I'm definitely not used to that. So we've got a couple of things that we did. We fixed the spending issue. So I increased my spending. My total cost of goods for the entire month was $2,106. So my spending went up considerably the last 2 months. That includes one $700 purchase that I've already made back in just 3 sales. So that was a wise decision. Hopefully that trickles into February. But this is where we are at for January. So let's take a look at 15 of the, and I should mention before we get into the bolos, my average work week was 24 and a half hours. I worked 98 hours, much more again in the second half of the month than I did in the first half of the month. And I'm going to increase that as the year goes on. So let's take a look at 15 items I sold in January. All right, we're going to start it off with, and I know I said 15, it's going to be 20 bolos. Polo Sport Sportsman hat. This line of hats is extremely expensive when you can find it. I sourced this at the bins. I paid 50 cents for it. Had it listed for 100, sold it for 85. Buyer is 98.30 all in, and it took 4 months to sell. This is the higher upper echelon version of Polo Ralph Lauren hats. Keep your eye out for it. Big money. Next, I'll be honest, I just grabbed these because they were pretty. They were in excellent condition. Picolinos, I think this is a Bolo brand in most cases. I don't do tons of women's footwear, but these sold really fast. So burgundy red leather color, almost like a little bit black on the tips, just really nice looking. 50 bucks is what I listed them for. That's what they sold for. Buyer is 65.74 all in. They cost me just under $5, but they did sell in 2 days. So this was great for me because it's not necessarily a new to me brand, but I just don't do lots of women's footwear. So I think this was a great sale. Next is a waxed trucker jacket from Flint and Tinder. Now I paid $20 for this at a thrift store. It was brand new in the package without tags. Listed it and sold it very fast for my full asking price of $250. This buyer is $288.26 all in. It only took 2 days to sell. The buyer has already left positive feedback. Flint and Tinder, very popular brand. Please look for it when you're in stores. If you source it, it's usually, again, in the upper echelon price-wise. And if you can get it in brand new condition like I did, you're gonna hit a home run. I love sourcing vintage Hartman tweed. This is another one where I was able to get a little bit more money for it because it had the keys, it had a lot of the accessories that normally you can't find when you're sourcing pre-owned Hartman luggage. Rolling suitcase, 23 inches, listed it for $150. That's what it sold for. Buyer is $180.57 all in. And I think it cost me $8. I don't remember exactly what I paid at this store. It's gonna be a trend here. Is like some of these things took a lot longer to sell than they normally do, so I kind of forget what the prices are sometimes. But whatever. A lot of this stuff was sourced in videos, so you can check me on it if I get the price wrong. At any rate, sold it for $150, and it only sold in one day. Very, very fast seller. And again, because it had the keys and all the accessories, I think that's why it sold as quickly as it did. Another excellent bolo brand to look for when you're outsourcing, Blundstone. These are men's, obviously Chelsea style boots. These were brand new without tags, and I listed them for $150. They sold for $127.49. So this buyer is $153.69 all in, after shipping, after taxes. Only took 5 days to sell. I did pay up for these, if you will, in that I paid $20 for them, but I'll take that deal all day long. Bolo brand, keep your eye out for Blundstone. This is one where I paid probably a little too much based on its condition. So I bought this on Facebook Marketplace for $40, but I took $50 out of the machine, forgot to get change. The woman didn't have change, so I paid $10 more than she was asking. So I paid $50 for it. It did sell for $101.99, and the buyer is $128.79 all in. So $50, it's not the greatest return. It's still a fantastic return, but relative to what you're used to seeing and hearing in these what sold videos, it's a smaller ROI. It took 3 months to sell, but Arc'teryx is the brand that you definitely want to keep your eye out for. Anytime I see a deal like that on Facebook Marketplace where I have to pay up and it's a brand like this where I know it's just a matter of time for it to sell, I'm still going to pay up in those cases. So this is a Bora 40. There's lots of versions of the Arc'teryx Bora backpack, so keep your eye out for it, but that's the brand that you want to look for, especially their jackets. Will get you a ton of money. I sourced this Patagonia lightweight backpack. Now I sourced it on at a garage sale, so I paid, I think, $5 for it. It took a little while to sell, but it almost fits in the palm of your hand in a little bag. And so I think these are kind of few and far between if you're looking for actual like sold comparables, but I had it listed for $100 and I took an offer of $75. So this buyer is $86.10 all in. Took a year and a half to sell, but so small, light, I paid next to nothing for it. It just sat in a bin in my basement and it eventually sold for $75. I'll take that all day long. Patagonia Bolo brand. I don't know that there's anything else left to be said about Patagonia that I haven't already, so keep your eye out for it. Next up is this Vizio 19-inch television, came with the remote. I think this was in one of my thrift run videos, so you guys saw me source it. Was it $8.99? I think I paid $9 for it. I don't exactly remember, but I remember wanting to price it on the higher end, and it sold really quickly for my asking price of $80. So this buyer is $125.65 all in. I think they've already left positive feedback. And it sold in 4 days, so it sold really quickly. And actually, if you look at the sold comparables that I have on the screen, somebody sold one for almost double what I was asking. So choose your poison. You want to charge $125, you want to charge $150. The comps told me that the $80 price range made more sense just based on me going back into Terapeak and doing maybe a year to 2 years worth of sold comp data research, but that seller got $150. Kudos to them. Next is a pair of Boulder boots from Lems. They were brown color, men's size 11.5, women's size 13. I think they make these sort of unisex in the style. And I had these listed for $120 and they sold for $101.99. So this buyer is $124.88 all in after shipping and after taxes. I paid up for these ones as well, paid $20, but they sold in 3 days. Lems is a great Bolo brand. They do seem to sell really quickly for me. And I know there have been people in the comments that have also sort of echoed that. Lems are a quick seller. So if you're a newer seller and you come upon this brand, grab them, because if you're pressed for space, need your money to turn over a little bit quicker, this is a good brand to do that with. Another brand I love reselling to me, this is a T-Tech messenger bag. I sold this for $80, and again, I think I paid $8 or $9 for it. I liked this one because it was a little bit larger than some of the sold comparables. It was 22 inches and expandable, and so I priced it high, thinking along those lines when I was doing my sold comparable research. And this one sold pretty quickly too for that full asking price. So this buyer is $108.64 all in, and it only took 2 weeks to sell. Tumi is a great brand. Keep your eye out for it. Stetson, if you weren't aware, that's definitely a Bolo brand when it comes to cowboy hats, Western hats. I found a couple of these marked $6.99, brand new in the bag at a thrift store. So I listed this one for $100. It sold for my full asking price of $100. Buyer is $113.88 all in. Again, only $7 for me, and sold in 4 days. I think I've sold 3 or 4 of them now, all for anywhere from $85 to $100, and I only paid $7 for each one. So that was a great score. Stetson, keep your eye out for them. This was a Huckberry exclusive, if I am not mistaken, so you could have only ordered it on Huckberry's website. Check me on that if that's not true, but I'm pretty sure it is, just based on the research that I did going to Huckberry's website, trying to verify some of the item description for when I did my own listing. So keep your eye out for them. Next one here, if you're new, I'm not sure that this is a brand or an item that I would be looking for. DB Dunn. It's like a fishing rod case. It had some nice padding to it. It did have the keys so that you could lock certain portions of it, so I thought that made it unique, but this is one that took a little bit long to sell as well, and quite honestly, I don't remember what I paid for it. Let's just call it $10. It did eventually sell for $55, and this buyer is 106.20 all in, because it was very long, 40 some odd inches to ship, and I did ship it priority. $10 took a year and 2 months to sell, so I held on to it for a little while longer, but probably one you can pass if you're brand new. Still a great sale for me. All right, next is this little mini space heater, and by mini I mean, again, palm of your hand, small, very small, model number PF5200. These are great sellers at like $50, $60. I got mine to sell for $60. It's actually the second one I had sold in the last 3 weeks. The first one I sold for $50. This one I priced up a little bit and got $10 more. So buyer is $76.51 all in. I think it cost me $5. I did source this in a video, so could have gone anywhere from $5 to $9. Losing my mind, getting old, and it took 4 days to sell, so a very fast seller. Great that we're kind of in the middle of winter, but look out for them. It's a definite bolo. So another one I sourced in a video, this Wolfgang Puck pressure oven. I think I paid $20 for this, and this sold fast too for $150. So this buyer is $208.80 all in, and this only took 5 days to sell. The model number WPEPO 1002. That's specifically the bolo that you want to look for. I'm sure there are other Wolfgang Puck pressure oven models that sell well, but this one specifically seems to be maybe a little bit harder to find, but definitely easy to sell. So keep that in mind. I gotta be honest with you, I don't know what this is. So I was going through the video that I had taken for a previous video, and I saw this sitting in a corner, and it sort of piqued my interest because I missed it. So I went back into the store maybe a day later, and it was still sitting there. I looked it up, and it was a bolo. What do you know? So I paid $3 for it. I think it measures like the output on a some type of apparatus that you use for working out, or you're trying to tone muscles in your abdomen area, something like that. I don't know. And like maybe this is the item that measures certain things, measures certain parameters based on the output that you're experiencing or putting out. So Slender Tone BMR Flex Belt Remote. I have no idea. Powered up like it did in some of the other sold comparables. Got it listed, and it sold for my full asking price of $65. Buyer is $76.15 all in. Again, $4, and it sold in 3 days. So definite bolo. One of the ones where I caught myself slipping, went back in, picked it up, and made a little bit of money. What can I say? All right, next item here is a Homedic sort of sleep therapy, sleep helper machine. It like makes a bunch of different kinds of white noise, supposedly to help you sleep, and it's a bolo. This is an item that a lot of you, even newer sellers, should be looking for. So model number on this one is HDS 2000. I priced mine up because it came with the remote. You'll see a lot of them selling in sold comparables that don't come with the remote, but I was able to get a little bit of a higher price because mine came with that. So I sold it for $55, and this buyer is $72.63 all in. I think it cost $5, and it only took 1 month to sell. So it's a good one. Keep your eye out for it. Helen Kaminsky is a bolo brand. The style of this like sort of straw hat visor is Bianca. It was pre-owned. I had it listed for $70. I took an offer of $59. So this buyer is $68.56 all in. It only cost me $2 in a thrift store, and it only took 2 months to sell. It did go all the way to the West Coast, but keep your eye out for Helen Kaminsky visors. Looks like they sell maybe in the $80, $90 to $100 range brand new on eBay, and I was able to get $60 for it pre-owned. If you look up Glamcore Multimedia X, like the LED lighting kit, it's super expensive. So this is just the case for that, and I found it at the bins, was doing the research, and I thought, somewhere someone along the line is going to want the original case with the LED kit that they have. Maybe they misplaced it, maybe they never got one. So I just picked a price out of a hat at $40, and that's what it sold for. So again, just the case for this one. Buyer is $56.86 all in. $3 because it was relatively light, and you pay by the pound when you source at the Goodwill outlet, which is where this came from. And it only took 3 weeks to sell. So it was a fast seller, and just one of those ones where I guessed and I guessed right. Another bins find here, and honestly, I only picked this up because it was a 3X. Very heavy, flame resistant National Safety Apparel hoodie. Nothing else to it. Had some company branding, like patch embroidered on the fronts, and I don't think that had any effect, if you will, on the sale. I think they just wanted the garment because it was what it was, how it functioned, and its size specifically at 3XL. So $50 is what I got. Buyer $62.19 all in. I think they left positive feedback for this one. It was a little bit on the heavy side, so maybe $5 or so, because it's just big and thick, and again, pay by the pound when you're sourcing at the outlet. So it took 8 weeks to sell. Great seller. Another one where I kind of guessed right. And I do a lot of that at the bins, more so than I do when I'm comping in stores and I want more of like an exact fit. So if you're newer, that's maybe not a strategy that I would employ. But again, as you get more comfortable in your reselling business, you can take more risks like this. And, I got $50 on an item I paid $5 for. So great sale. All right, and the last one here, I paid $10 for these on Facebook Marketplace. A very rare pair of Asics wrestling shoes, Cow Bombs. Bruce Baumgartner is the wrestler here. Had these listed for a year and a half, but they did finally eventually sell for my full asking price of $300. This buyer is $331.85 all in, and even after a year and a half, and I have a couple offers trickle in, every few months or so, but somebody paid full price, $300. Great sale. In my next video, we are headed up to the Goodwill bins, and I didn't find one rare item, I didn't find two, I found three extremely rare items, and I'm excited to feature them for you. Can't wait for it. Stay tuned. Brendan here, Dad Planet, the One Man Show. Hit that like button if you liked what you saw or you learned something today, and then always consider becoming a member of the Dad Planet family by subscribing and hitting the bell notification icon so that you know every single time I upload a video to YouTube. That's it. That's all I've got for you today. Thanks again. We'll see you in the next one.